There you go.
I was waiting for you to say, I'd like to introduce my speaker.
Oh, I wanted to have that as part of the recording, and now we have this dialogue as part of the recording too, so that's even better. It's better than starting late, so I'll say that much. Our speaker today is Reverend Dr. Josephine Sheppard. Shh, she doesn't like to use her titles. She is the author of the self-development book, HSP, Empathic and Empowered, Expanding My Perspective, and an ordained non-denominational minister through the Universal Life Church, headquartered in Seattle, Washington. Her doctorate is in religious counseling, and she is a certified Reiki master teacher and a natural health consultant. Josephine is a regular practitioner of introspection, spiritual journeying, mindfulness, and meditation, and is a continual student of life. She's had 3 near-death experiences, various spiritually transformative life experiences, and has a clear memory of being non-physical, conscious to her prior to her birth into this lifetime. Her life journey thus far has fueled her passion for reminding others that the power of the divine is within, and her awareness of being, prior to being born, is the driving force of being a willing vessel of Spirit's messages whenever it is called through her. Josephine's journey of channeling Spirit began at the age of 4, which brings her to us here today. Please welcome Reverend Dr. Josephine Sheppard. Oh, no title.
Thank you, Reverend.
You're welcome.
Well, boldly shine your light. That's my focus today. Mother Nature helped out, right? Isn't the sun just amazing? And it's so easy to be outside in nature and to feel the warmth of the sun. It almost feels like it is warming us from the inside out. We feel vibrant, we feel alive, we feel encouraged, which is such a wonderful thing, especially if for whatever reason, even if it's just the seasons, if you feel sensitive to seasons and it gets cloudy, right? And you kind of feel like your body starts to feel heavy. Here's the interesting thing about that though, that as much as we love and adore the sun coming out, and I will be the first to say that I will be a sun worshiper. I have no problem with that whatsoever. But even on the cloudy days, that sun is still shining. Even behind the clouds, it's always shining. Even when in our side of the hemisphere, we see it as darkness, the sun is still shining. Life, universal light, source energy, unifying field of consciousness, in and through everything that is. So it's interesting because I will be first to tell you that when someone tells me, boldly shine your light, be all that you can be. Sometimes that's with tongue in cheek, yeah? You're thinking, oh, okay, so obviously you're pretty hyped. You went to some rah-rah cheering, good old webinar thing or great speaker, you got hyped up and now you wanted me to just jump on board with you. No, not happening. Intellectually, it sounds good though. We have an aspect that, we all have infinite intelligence flowing to and through us. And we filter different tabs of information through our neural system, through our brain. So intellect is natural. But what challenges us the most to be the light that we are as an expression of that divine intelligence expressing as us, through us, as us, for us, to experience itself in many avenues, connecting with itself through each of us as individualized personalities. Takes a little bit of work. But there was an understanding of this. Before coming into a physical form, there was the knowing, the enthusiasm for fracturing off, so to speak, loosely termed, into an individualized expression so that we had the opportunity to expand as a visceral, delicious, wonderful, tangible consciousness. So the intellect says, okay, I can kind of get that. That kind of makes sense. I can be open enough, at least 1% to go, yeah, all right. So, infinite intelligence. What do you want us to do, being you as an individualized us, to recognize that we literally are not separate from? That this physicality that we identify as me, self, and I is actually residing in a greater non-physical version of self that actually encompasses the vibrational and electromagnetic field that we call our aura even, and that too resides within the greater unifying field, which all of us are an extension of, and where we find in those moments a hint of when we feel connected to each other. When we resonate on some level, be it a topic, an emotion, presence. So here's what I'm going to invite you to do. First of all, humor me. Play along. Allow that 1% of receptivity. So I'm going to invite you to really bring your awareness into your body. And that includes anyone who's on Zoom. If you're there, hear me out. Really get into your body. In other words, feel the sensation of the weight of your body in your seat. Feel the weight of your body in your seat. Now notice and bring your awareness into your feet, and notice your feet on the floor and the sensation of your feet in your shoes, the weight of your feet on the floor, the sensation of the pressure of the floor against your feet. What we're doing with this practice is we're actually getting our vibrational energy out of the intellect and into the somatic or visceral sensation. We're getting out of our mind, getting fully present and embodying the very expression and intention that the divine intended as it created us with a consciousness before even entering into a physical form. It is us, and we crave visceral knowingness and beingness of self. And as we do so, we are actually uniting and connecting on the vibrational level with one another. Because the only thing that is ever happening is everything in the now. And that does not disparage making plans and goals and considerations, because we like to have something to intellectually focus on to pull ourselves forward. We were intended to be individualized and express and to choose. That's the purpose, because that also expands what we are. Because without those contrasting experiences, without the variety, without the pain, without the challenges, we do not expand, because there's nothing to choose. So our intention was never to come here and simply consider that our life would be like a feathered nest and it would simply just be. We be without this. We be without form. But we be so much more when we be in the duality of form that is so prudent to our expansion eternally. It is what puts the eternal and being an infinite being that we are. So that would mean that when we consider something sacred, holy, when we feel that divinity that seems to overcome and overwhelm this body, it is because there is so much more that goes beyond the human mind. But it also means that wherever you are, wherever you're sitting, wherever you're standing, you're on holy ground. You're on holy ground. This is your body temple that was consecrated. Consecrated how? With holy essence of energy, knowing, pure bliss and love and pleasure, unconditional. We create ourselves on purpose. The divine came through and created the consciousness that with absolutely enthusiasm said, let me come into this form because I know that I will eternally be guided. I will eternally know my essence as infinite energy. And in those moments I will forget, I also know that I will be okay. Because infinite energy, or we may even say our guides, our ancestors, right, surround us, remaining beyond the physical energy in order to keep calling us forward, reassuring us. And sometimes we get that reassurance and it's a direct line through our own body. We get the aha. Because our light, we're receptive to being the light that we are, and our heart opens up and the energy centers open up, which was created before even the human form was coming together. Every cell has its own intelligence. You know, how does a cell, they all look exactly alike. No, to become an organ, one becomes part of the heart, one becomes your spine, one becomes part of the nervous system, one the digestive system. Infinite intelligence. Infinite intelligence. Grand design knows what it's doing. And sometimes when we get caught in our mind, in our stories from living in this time-space reality, we might observe things that seem greatly unpleasant, but as a collective, we are sending the frequency off. We are ready as a collective consciousness to shift the error of our ways, but we did not know any better. So let us forgive, for we knew not what we did. Expansion. We become more light. It's not going to be instant because we are in a deliberate time-space reality, so we have the opportunity to take delight and pleasure in our expansion from what? The stuff that we call crap. What happens when we take a plant and we put it in the ground? If we put the seed, well, the ground is dirty and it's nasty and there's all these little bugs that sometimes I don't even want touching me, right? But even in that dark space, in the mud, in the muck, source energy knows how to call the energy into form that expanded from a seed into something magnificent and beautiful. And it doesn't even need us as a human being. I've certainly seen plants that I thought were, really, why did you make that? But from the spaciousness and awareness and consciousness of Source, it's divine, grand design, and it's wonderful and magnificent because there's another form of expansion. It is always boldly shining. It is always boldly shining. Even when we feel like we want to dim our own light, the light shines because it's what you are. It might feel fragmented. It might feel tight and constricted. You might even have a part of your own mind that says, I don't see no light. What are you talking about? But sisters and brothers, our hearts beat. We don't think that into being day in and day out. We experience the sun rising and setting, and we don't think that into being day in and day out. We're breathing, and we don't think that into being. Now we might be able to constrict it, right? There's an example how we might be able to constrict our own life force that can never be put out, right? Hold your breath as hard as, but even if you hold your breath and you hold it hard enough so that you pass out, guess what? You're breathing again. Ha ha. Joke's on you. Infinite intelligence, got a sense of humor. The more light you allow within you, the more brighter the world you live in will be. And that's a quote from Shakti Gawain. So I would again even rephrase that. The more that I allow myself to be the light that I am, the more that I allow myself to be the light that I am, the brighter the world is going to seem to me. Because it's from the inside out. It's from the inside out. When you feel lighter, think about that. Think of a time when you were really upset, hurt, or angry, or resentful. You could even probably feel it in your body. You tightened, you constricted, right? You could be looking at a beautiful plant and just think, wow, that's a waste, right? Think of a time when you felt absolutely uplifted and flowing and beautiful and, something just struck you in a way that you wanted to dance. And even if you didn't dance externally, you danced internally. And you could look at that same plant and go, my goodness, is that I've never noticed it so bright. Just as a plant has its own life and light, when we allow the light that we are to expand, we resonate at the similar frequency and we can connect. The beauty of relationships in all its various forms. Everything is a relationship. So my final note is that the way that we allow ourselves on a daily basis, because every day is a new day, and we have patterns and frequencies and beliefs that have been ongoing, as just by 1% notice. And the first thing in the morning is always the best, right? Because all frequencies have slowed down. And first thing in the morning is when we can make that connection and go, fresh day has not happened yet. You have an opportunity to actually notice the thoughts go by that are coming in that you've actually been practicing that has a pattern, you know, even if it's something to the nature of, oh, great, here's another day, same old, same old. Question it. Is it really? The day hasn't unfolded, so that obviously can't be true. The practice of awareness without judgment of self. Why would we not want to judge ourselves? Because that is also the ego, that is also a pattern. So even in that, going, wait a minute, I am life, I am light, I am love. So from that standpoint, my wanting to judge is not me, it's the pattern. It's the pattern. And you know what? I can love that too. Because if it wasn't for that pattern that I learned that seems flawed, I would not be able to recognize and become more conscious from the expansion that I have taken vibrationally, that I am light. I am love. I am presence. And to allow the collective presence, which is always only here and now. From broader perspective, there's only ever now. From our own living expressions, there's only ever now. I can imagine and even sometimes project something I would desire, but I really don't have control of that. I have put the message out there so that the universe can bring together all of the cooperative components. But the same thing happens even if we don't do it consciously. If we're spending a day where we're in lament and pain and complaint and fear, all of that is fear-based. And it's, again, not bad. It's just becoming aware, oh, okay, I was practicing that a bit. And that's why I'm drawing more like energy. And it's going to come together in different ways. We do not have control over that. It's a natural law. But before coming in, we already knew that the natural laws had been set up into play so that we could cause ourselves to keep expanding and experience ourselves as the loving, light, infinite being that we are. It is all about the visceral and tactile, the opportunity to express. So, take a deep breath with me. Hold it for a moment at the apex, and then release and exhale twice as much as you inhaled. It's a very grounding exercise to bring you back to the now. And with that, my friends, thank you so much for allowing me to serve.
Thank you.